and to give U.S. a ready and trained force to dispatch in Africa if crises requiring the U.S. military emerge. According to General Ham, mobilizing these forces for active combat would only require an order from Defense Secretary Leon Panetta. This announcement came as France began bombing missions in Mali earlier this year, followed by the deployment of ground troops, again under the pretext of fighting Islamic terrorism. It's important to note here that the government that France is backing was just recently established by the military in Mali, after a military coup which toppled the democratically elected government. The army, which has been accused of engaging in torture and sexual abuse of detainees, still retains real power. According to U.S. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta, the U.S. has been providing intelligence gathering assistance to the French in Mali. UK Special Forces are also involved in the operation. The grand irony here is that on one hand, NATO forces are taking military action against Islamic rebels. On the other hand, they are funding them and arming them in neighboring countries. In Syria, for example, France has openly supported the Syrian rebels in their attempts to destabilize the Syrian government, and has even offered to send the rebels anti-aircraft and heavy artillery. This in spite of German intelligence reports which have revealed that foreign al-Qaeda extremists have been behind a number of recent atrocities in Syria. These aren't just similar insurgents that are being funded in one country and battled in another. In many cases, they are the very same fighters. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov was recently quoted as saying, "In Mali, France is fighting against those it armed in Libya against Gaddafi's regime, in violation of the UN Security Council arms embargo." To complicate matters, on January 30th, Israel bombed targets in Syria, under the pretext that Syria was sending weapons to its ally Hezbollah in neighboring Lebanon. In spite of this act of overt war, the Syrian government has not retaliated. They understand that any retaliation would be used by NATO to provide the justification for a full-scale invasion. Through all of this, Russia has continued providing weapons to the Syrian government, and has made moves to counter the NATO missile defense shield outpost that was recently established in East Anatolia, Turkey, by building an array of anti-aircraft missiles pointed at Turkey. All of this would seem contradictory and absurd if we take NATO's official explanation at face value, but it makes perfect sense if you understand what's really at stake here. NATO is both funding and attacking Islamic extremists because the instability which results provides the pretext for a military presence. NATO's growing military presence in Africa and in the Middle East only makes sense when viewed as strategic positioning in the build-up to a much larger global conflict. In World War II, Africa, the Middle East, and the Caucasus region were key pivot points which both sides fought to control. Rich in oil, gold, and other key industrial resources, military domination in these areas was a determining factor in the outcome of the conflict. Hitler's invasion of Russia, for example, was driven by his desire to control the vast oil fields of the Caucasus region, the area between the Caspian and Black Seas, which includes Iran and Azerbaijan. Not surprisingly, this region was also highlighted in Zbigniew Brzezinski's book The Grand Chessboard, which outlined the key regions which must be controlled in order to ensure continued U.S. dominance. Israel and NATO's current attacks in Syria, combined with U.S. sanctions on Iran which are openly geared towards destroying the Iranian economy, are part of a long-term policy of provocation. But what's really at stake in this provocation? Perhaps we should consider this statement by Major General Zhang Zhaozhong, who declared in late 2011 that, quote, "China will not hesitate to protect Iran even with a third world war." Russia has issued numerous warnings of a similar nature, though the wording is slightly less direct.
We have a president that's signing executive orders like the King of England signs edicts during the revolution. And you don't like Fat Boy. And you want to see the war that I'm talking about? And that's the top trend for this one coming up. French hostage and 2 soldiers die in Somali rescue effort. Oh my God, a Somali rescue effort. Who could these guys be? Oh, I'll tell you who they were. A French intelligence officer was assassinated by his Islamic captors. Assassinated by his Islamic captors. What the hell is this guy doing there? Oh, don't raise your voice. They could do anything that they want. They're the French. They're the Americans. Oh, the Americans helped on this. Oh, yeah, the soldiers got killed. The guy that they were trying to rescue got killed, and they killed a lot of other people in the meantime. You have no business being there. You have no business being in Somalia. Hey, but Somalia is not enough? How about French airstrikes in Mali? Da-da-da-da! Oh, Mali, yeah, you know that place that the French, they love the word. They call it a colony. Oh, a colony. Oh, nice little colony. Yeah, colony. Yeah, they had it as a colony from 1892 to 1960. And now the place is up for grabs because of the breakup of Libya. That's right. They got all the arms over there, and now they're trying to overthrow the government. Yeah, that great humanitarian mission. And what is France doing? Airstrikes. They're killing innocent people. They want their colony back. They're doing deals all over the place over there. This is all about business. And talking about business, China, they're the ones that do the best business in the world. Business is their game. Of a scale of 0 to 500, Beijing's air quality tops crazy bad at 755. They're killing everybody over there. Hey, it creates jobs. So what? That you have zillions of automobiles, you have burning coal, you got factories ringing the joint, and it's not only in Beijing. There's air pollution everywhere. That's all right. The poisons go into your lungs, the mercury, then it goes into your blood system, and then it kills you. And it makes room for more people to create new jobs. The weather's patterns are changing. You can't throw shit up in the air like this and not expect it to do anything. And I don't want to hear those emails either that you got the formula down and it's because of this star in that galaxy. Forecasters grist for grains. Corn wheat futures jump as USDA projects supplies will dwindle by summer. All right? I'm talking about China. Today's Wall Street Journal. Neighbors grow more weary of China. That's right. War. War is on the horizon. Russian lawmakers undertake quest to scrub civic life of foreign influence. Mr. Putin has made patriotism a central theme in his third presidential term. And the U.S. Foreign Deputy said strengthening Russia's sovereignty is now the Duma's, quote, most important direction. Then you pick up another article, Russia upgrading, strengthening military. Okay? And they're afraid of China too, and the United States. These wars are expanding. The United States is also involved in that Mali war. We're going to war. They know that this system is collapsing. And they're going to be taking more and more of our rights away from us. But you don't care. You people that have the nerve. Getting tight because I call some prostitute fat boy. A pig of a prostitute. Let's get this straight. Gun control's not going to solve the problem. Here, yesterday's New York Times. 50-year term for burning woman to death in elevator. Hey, they should have taken matches away from the guy. I say ban matches. It's not because he's a crazy son of a bitch. It's because of the damn matches. Ban matches. Oh, I know what we'll do. Instead of having a book of matches, we'll only have one match in a book. That's right. And no boxes of matches. That's right. Ask fat boy. That's not enough. After deadly fire, a man is charged with murder. The police charged a 45-year-old man with murder, arson, and attempted assault on Friday after a fire in Manhattan that left one person dead and several others injured. This man, the man, Wei Chu Wu, started the fire inside a 5-story apartment building after getting into a fight with the mother of his child, who lives in the second floor of the building. It's matches, damn it! Ban the damn matches! People don't need boxes of matches. It will be better if they only have one match so they cannot burn people in elevators or set houses on fire. I'm talking about war. Rising nationalist star sheds light on Israel's long-term drift to the right. Financial Times, drift to the right ain't so great. Oh, Netanyahu came out yesterday and said they're going to build those settlements and nobody cares. Nobody cares. The world is heading to war. And unless people push for peace, that's where we're going.
In a Turkish military base on a hill above the city of Kahramanmaraş, the German army is setting up its Patriot missile system. One by one, the rocket launchers are being directed to their designated locations. Situated 100 kilometers to the north of Turkey's southern border, their mission is to intercept and destroy ballistic missiles that may threaten the Turkish people in the area.
When you think about the NDAA, you probably think about indefinite detention of civilians without trial in military prisons, essentially the elimination of your rights as a human being. But hey, who needs rights anyway? Believe it or not, though, that's not the most scary thing in this document. Section 1063 of the National Defense Authorization Act of 2013 is titled, Report on the Capability of Conventional and Nuclear Forces Against Certain Tunnel Sites. This section directs the commander of the U.S. Strategic Command to prepare a report assessing the capability of the U.S. military to destroy a network of tunnels in China and the, quote, known hardened and deeply buried sites of foreign nations using conventional or nuclear forces. And what's important to realize here is that releasing such a statement publicly in a document that can easily be downloaded by China and other governments, this has to be interpreted as a provocation. But why would anyone want to make a nuclear-armed country nervous like this, unless they're actually trying to set off a war?
Beijing has slammed Washington for its latest comments on China's territorial brawl with Japan in the South China Sea, saying the U.S. should be more careful with its words and stay away from the region's matters. It is a reaction to statements made by U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, who reassured Tokyo of American support and warned China against any unilateral action in the dispute. Beijing and Tokyo both lay claims to a string of uninhabited islands that are said to be rich in natural resources. For more on this, we're joined now by George Koo. He is the founder and former managing director of International Strategic Alliances. Mr. Koo, thank you very much for being with us.
Morning.
On its very basic level, Hillary Clinton was simply supporting an ally. Why are they making such a big deal out of this?
Well, historically, there's no tenuous basis for Japan to lay claim to the ownership of these islands. And the U.S. played a huge complicit part in creating this debacle to begin with. You know, after the World War II, the terms of unconditional surrender specifically excluded any of the offshore islands as being part of Japan, but somehow the terms of surrender were changed during the peace treaty written by in San Francisco. The Chinese had no part in the forming of that treaty, and then for whatever reason in the 71-72 timeframe, the U.S. turn over, quote unquote, administrative control of the islands to Japan, and that was without any consent from China or Taiwan or the other parties concerned. So the U.S. created this mess, and I think the U.S. is continuing to prolong the problem that between Japan and China.
Now, does the U.S. even have a right to say anything? I mean, this is surely a regional matter.
Yeah.
Now, to what extent can the U.S. try to pressure Beijing, and what kind of reaction do they want?
Well, I think U.S. is, again, playing the strategic ambiguity game by, on the one hand, saying we're neutral about this and we're not taking sides between China and Japan. But on the other hand, they're saying, but we recognize that Japan has administrative control, and therefore we would be opposed to any unilateral action. But how did Japan get the administrative control? The U.S. turned it over to them. How did U.S. Originally get administrative control? It was because after World War II, U.S. had taken control of Okinawa, as well as the chain of islands, and including the Diaoyu and Senkaku Islands. So from the beginning to the end, the U.S. was really responsible for this particular mess.
Now, the U.S., you say, is responsible, and President Obama has made it a clear objective to boost America's influence in the Asia-Pacific region, which is right on China's doorstep.